Hey guys, in this video we're going to talk about this cymbal that I have right here. In the camera you can see the profile view. It's a big old umbrella shaped cymbal. It's a 22 from my Tributary series. And this is a cymbal that I made and I sent it to the customer. It was finished at 2,370 grams. Customer played it, they liked it, but then they sent it back because they had this idea to take it in a totally different direction. So let's talk about that direction, and then you guys can hear the original version, the modified version, and you can let me know which is your favorite. All right, so like I said, 22-inch Tributary started out. The first version was 2,370 grams. This version is 2,014 grams. This is way, way thinner than I typically make my cymbals. And in the beginning, I would make a ton of super paper thin cymbals, but since then I kind of evolved. My ear has evolved, and my ear gravitates towards heavier sounds. I find them to be more functional for different styles of music, different volume levels, obviously. But there are still many drummers, myself included, that find themselves in musical situations where a really paper-thin cymbal just sounds great. And paper-thin cymbals are interesting. They have to be treated with a ton of intention, and they have to be manufactured in a way that takes into account how a thin cymbal typically operates, so that you don't end up with this mushy, crashy, washy mess. And so this cymbal, being that it started out with such an umbrella shape, that's kind of a good starting point, or a good factor to have as a part of the cymbal that will allow me to go really thin with it and maintain the important quality of a ride, which is stick definition. You know, as we ride and we're playing our jazz patterns or whatever patterns we're playing, we want that articulation, that click, whatever you want to call it, that stick definition, we want that to be heard. And we want that to be heard more than just by us. We want that to be heard by the musicians and the audience members that are listening to us. So the original cymbal, as you will hear in just a minute, was a couple hundred grams heavier, actually 350 grams heavier, so quite a bit heavier. It was very clear on the stick definition. It was an umbrella shape, and it had 2,370 grams, so clear as can be. The stick definition would never run away from you. It's always going to have that articulation there, even when you're digging in. The customer is a guy that plays very, very, in a very nuanced way. He plays with tons of dynamics, and he plays with a very particular drumstick that allows him to have super duper paper thin cymbals that don't lose their stick definition. So this stick that he uses is the Bopworks Memphis R&B, and it's got this very interesting tip that allows for a really pointed, high definition, clear stick definition. And if I was to take this next to something akin to the SD2 with a big barrel tip, you're going to really hear what I mean when I talk about the definition and having a stick that's going to serve the cymbal well. So let's check it out. That was the Memphis R&B from Bopworks. This is an SD2. The SD2, as you can hear, opens up the mid-range. It opens up the tone of the cymbal, and you get a lot of the spread in the wash that kind of comes and billows up around the stick definition, which is fine for certain cymbals, but that can be an issue with super thin cymbals, because if you're building up the wash, the mid-range, the low frequencies, if you're building them up with the kind of stick that you use, you're not going to have enough clarity to cut in the way that it needs to. So this guy plays this stick. It's very, very articulate, very, I would say small sounding, but not in a bad way. It's got kind of like a thin, small sound. And so then you factor that with a cymbal that's designed to have body and air and roundness, like this umbrella-shaped cymbal does, and you can get a kind of a magic combination. So now I want to flip the camera over to the back side, and you'll hear me talk a little bit more about this cymbal, and then you can hear the original before the modification, and you guys can let me know what you think. And I wanted to hop on and do a video about this cymbal because I really like how it turned out. So the weight on it is 2,014 grams. It is a very tall shaped cymbal, as you can kind of see in the camera there. Very tall shaped cymbal. It's got a hand-formed bell. So this cymbal started out as a completely flat blank, and took a lot of hammering to get it into this shape. And now that it's at this really thin weight, it's got a very beautiful sound, I think. So one thing I want to note before I play it is that the customer installed these 2 rivet holes, and they have paper fasteners in there. So paper fasteners they're like rivets, but they're like 1/4 of the weight, so they're incredibly light. He called it a fairy dust kind of sprinkle in the cymbal. Like, that's how he described the sonic nature of these things. They're barely there. You can barely hear them, but they do add a nice color. Yeah, so I really dig the way this thing sounds. It's got that kind of rounded tonality that you get with these umbrella-shaped cymbals. The way I like to describe it is you have kind of like a dragon's breath kind of sound, like a roaring crowd sound that lives in the wash, and then you get a little bit more of a round sound rather than a pointed sound. And the way to kind of illustrate this with the voice is to, if you take your hand and you cup it over your mouth while you're speaking, you get a much more muted, mellow sound coming from your voice, as opposed to this, which you can hear a lot of the sibilance and the clarity in my S's and the way that I'm speaking. So that relates very closely to the way cymbals are when they're in a very tall umbrella shape. That's what the kind of tonality that you get with a cymbal like this. So I wanted to hop on and show this. I'll now link the way the cymbal used to sound so you can hear it before and after the mod. Please let me know which version you like more. Obviously, after the mod, you're going to hear much more of the air, and you're going to even see a lot more of the wobble in the cymbal. And before it, it had a nice, very clear, defined, meaty stick sound, and now it's a little bit more hollow, which is not a bad thing, it's just a different vibe. right, that's the video, guys. Please drop a comment below and let me know what you think. And keep an eye out for the next video. I drop videos every week, so more content is coming, cymbal-related content. And also, we're in a new space. This is different than my typical studio. We are in our new shop, which is amazing. It's a huge upgrade, and I'll be filming videos, doing shop tours and walkthroughs and all that kind of stuff that's coming very soon. I'm really excited to show you guys that. So like I said, drop a comment below and keep an eye out for the next video. See ya.